Hey guys, Nick here, and today we are covering the finale of What If Vegeta Raised Tarble, going into the Tournament of Power arc, making it all one video, and ending off this series. How will our heroes fare in the Tournament of Power? And how will the tournament itself go? That is what we are going to find out. And this is going to be a long video, so strap yourselves in. The Tournament of Power roster for Universe 7 goes as such: Vegeta, Goku, Nappa, Raditz, Tien, Yamcha, Piccolo, Krillin, Tarble, and Gohan. Much, much stronger than their canon counterparts. Now, last time, at the end of the last video, we got into the roster, which I felt like I should reiterate, for Universe 7, and the entrance to the Tournament of Power itself, and the team going to the World of Void, getting ready to start. And that is where we resume and begin the finale for this story. Right away, when the tournament starts, Frost, having not used even his third form in the last tournament because Goku fought him and Vegeta and the rest of the Saiyans kind of knew about Frieza's transformations, but didn't really know, if that makes sense. Anyways, Frost, having not used said transformations, transforms immediately to his fourth form to prove a point to Universe 7 that they were wrong to have underestimated him. Vegeta, not really seeing Frieza's transformations firsthand, but having a feeling that one like him could do this, anticipated that someone like Frost would go for them specifically. And right away, he just powers everything into his base form and one-shots Frost with the power of Force Spirit Fission, knocking him not only back into his first form, but out of the tournament completely. And they're following Vegeta's plan, which he said in the canon story before they actually went, to down the strongest fighters first. So, that's what they're actually doing now, since Vegeta's the leader and strongest one they've got. So, they're actually doing his plan this time. And here's another little interesting thing. For a few seconds during the intro sequence of the tournament in the canon story, we saw Hyssop fight Nink, which Hyssop would go on to be eliminated by Vegeta and the rest in the canon story, and Nink would be eliminated by Goku. But now, we actually see the two fight, since Universe 7's standing by to fight the strongest fighters. So, Hyssop beats Nink not only because of his Absolute Zero and Ice powers, but because of his more muscular physique. So he wins. As for the rest of Universe 9, they would either get down by a stronger universe, or Ro would send them to combat Universe 7 for standing still and see them as the easier target. Either way, I feel that Universe 9 would still be erased first, just because out of everybody, they were the weakest fighters. Universe 10 was kind of like that, but they had people like Albany and Rubalt, Albany more so Universe 9 just seems more likely to get eliminated first in general. Anyway, Cabba and the Universe 6 Saiyans see that Universe 7's standing by, and Cabba, having told Caulifla and Kale about Tarble and the other Saiyans, go to combat Universe 7, because they would still get Super Saiyan, because Cabba still got Super Saiyan. Cabba fights Tarble again, very happy to see him, because remember, Tarble fought Cabba instead of Vegeta, and they actually got a master and student bond, and I feel that Vegeta would be included there, except it would be more so Tarble, give his brother something. Goku fights the likes of Caulifla and Kale, like he did before, except this is way earlier on in the tournament. But the intro sequence to this fight I feel would play out the same way, except Goku is much stronger here, so he would have to hold back considerably. Now, it all goes the same until Kale transforms into his berserker state. Now, you might think that the rest of this goes the same way, right? Wrong! See, With the power of Yardratian training, and having already demonstrated it against Frost, Goku uses it to his advantage against Kale. In her Berserker state, punches her with a full power Super Saiyan 2 attack, which knocks her into her base form, and just blasts the two of them straight out of the ring. Because this Goku's far more cautious, and seeing that Universe 6 has this kind of power on their side could be really troublesome, especially considering the fact that they can't kill anybody. So, Caulifla and Kale are eliminated way earlier on, but that doesn't really matter anyway, because fusion doesn't exist in this scenario, so even if they lived, it wouldn't have mattered. Anyways, Kaba finally unlocks Super Saiyan 2 against the likes of Tarble, but Tarble's own Super Saiyan 2 dwarfs him, but it is still a good fight nonetheless, and a nice master and student bond that they have, again, before Tarble knocks him out. After that, most of the tournament besides Universe 7 standing still for the most part, besides strong fighters, plays out the way you would expect. As for the likes of Shosa and Majora, since they're close to Universe 7, the Earthlings, that of which being Krillin, Yamcha, and Tien, take out the likes of Shosa and Majora. So Krillin gets to fight both of them like he did before, except there's no 18, and he is in his mystic form, and you have Mystic Yamcha and Tien helping him. So this is very one-sided for the likes of Shosa and Majora. They're almost completely no match. Majora's being able to detect people without seeing helps in it a little bit, and Shosa's play dead, but not really besides that. Anyways, for the Pride Troopers, the 5 that appeared after the whole Kale escapade in the canon story, for what would happen to them, I feel that the same would be Universe 9's whole deal. They would either get eliminated by another universe or attack Universe 7 and end up losing anyway. I don't see anything major coming out of them. But we do have a little something in the likes of Universe 2, because I feel that Ribrianne and her band of merry men and love and all that other stuff, they would realize that Universe 7's just standing around only picking off the ones that are a threat. So they decide to actually make themselves a threat. But that's not really wise when you're dealing with this particular Universe 7. And almost immediately after their introduction sequence to the transformation, Vegeta powers up to his maximum and just kicks Ribrianne so hard that not only does it knock her back into her base form, but out of the ring and unconscious. This was a strong attack. Vegeta wasn't playing games here, because the love thing kind of sickened all of them. As for the likes of Rosie, Vickle, and Kakonza, they get similar treatment, just not as rough. Then we get to something interesting. Jamies. Because he's a Yardratian, duh. And this is actually a perfect chance for the others to try out their Yardratian techniques, more so than what they did before. Well, the only time that Vegeta and the Saiyans did was when they killed Frieza, and that was almost completely one-sided. But at least it gave them something to use their Yardratian techniques, and that was a long time ago. But since the Saiyans and everyone outman Jamies very much so, he can't even land successful blows against the team because they're just all coming at him at once using their own Yardratian techniques. So this is very one-sided, and Jamies can't even land any blows. It's more or less a defensive maneuver that he has to resort to. And soon enough, Jamies runs out of steam. He can't keep up anymore. Tried instant transmission, other techniques, and it's just he gets knocked out. After that, Gohan beats Botamo the same way that he did before, because I feel that this sequence would still happen. It's a small sequence, nothing major, so I feel that that would still happen. But then, we get to where Gohan and Piccolo would be originally fighting the likes of Universe 10's Obony and Rubold, and knocking them out, and etc. But, with a little twist this time, because of what's happened, Ubony and Rubold have some friends with them. Nappa, Methiop, Diem, and Jirison all are still in the tournament. So now it is not only 2-2, but it is 6-2. But if you think that matters, that it really doesn't. With this much more stronger Mystic Gohan and Mystic Piccolo, the numbers don't even matter. They just power up to their absolute maximums without Gohan transforming into God forms and knock all of Universe 10 out. It only applied to, like, if this were canon Gohan and Piccolo, but I feel that it would have still not been a problem. Anyways, Hit and Dispo still have their fight, because I feel that nothing would change there. But when Goku saves Hit, it is more one-sided for the likes of Dispo and Kunchi, because Goku has Mystic Super Saiyan God and not just Super Saiyan God. So Kunchi still gets eliminated, but Dispo is far more injured. Not like critically injured, but much more so than how injured he was originally. After that, Raditz and Nappa take on the likes of Koei, Dokori, and Ganos relatively easy in their base forms, because I feel that Raditz and Nappa at this point could just take them all out without any kind of difficulty. Going on to Hermilla and Prum, the two Universe 2 people, that's kind of a tongue twister there, Tien takes them out alone in his Mystic form, and there's Gohan and Piccolo would make a small appearance in this, but Tien would take the glory overall, throw him a bone from his original outing in the canon Tournament of Power, and this also means he stays in the tournament, for now. Anyways, Jiren beats Majikayo like he did before, because nothing would really change there. As for the likes of Vegeta, with no Frost and no Botamo around, he's left completely open, but that doesn't stop him from trying. He goes after the likes of Vegeta and Tarble. Now, even though neither of them fought against the likes of Vegeta in the Universe 6 vs. 7 tournament, and Goku didn't really insult him during his fight with Vegeta, the revelation that Vegeta can be hurt from insults only came during small topics in the Universe 6 vs. 7 tournament. They use that to their advantage, and Vegeta's eliminated. And after that, Jiren, noticing that Universe 7 is avoiding him for other fighters, can only mean one of two things, which actually makes them more confident. Either one, they're scared of him and are just completely avoiding him overall, or they're waiting to save him for last because they know he's the strongest. Either way, he'll play their games and let them have their fun. But he doesn't have too long to stew on this, because Hit goes after him alone. Because even though Universe 7's not going after him yet, Goku included, that doesn't stop Hit from going after him, because Hit's not part of their universe. He's not going to follow the same program. So, this means that Hit fights Jiren alone. And the fight goes similarly to how it did whenever Hit saved Goku, except Hit is the primary one fighting Jiren, so he hasn't had prior experience to seeing how Jiren fights, so it's even more in Jiren's favor. After that, I know I keep saying that, that's my apologies, the halfway point of the Tournament of Power approaches, and it's gone much differently than how it did before, because I don't think I've even gotten to this point in my other stories. Jiren goes into his meditation, humoring Universe 7, since he knows that they're going to wait until the end to save him, or to fight him, rather. So, he just figures, what the heck, and leaves Topo and Dispo to take care of everything else, and hopefully get themselves eliminated so he can just go after him, because he doesn't care right now. Jiren's at that point about not caring about his teammates. Anyways, for the Universe 3 robots who would originally attack Goku right now because of Ultra Instinct, it doesn't happen here. So, Gohan, because why not, fights the likes of the Universe 3 robots much earlier than his canon counterpart, because he did fight them alongside Goku and Vegeta in canon story. And with the power of Force Spirit Fission, even if the Universe 3 robots were to assemble together, Force Spirit Fission can help out in the regard of backfiring that whole ordeal. So, Dr. Pepperoni and the rest of the Universe 3 competitors are knocked out by the likes of Gohan and anyone else, depending on how serious the situation was. Like, if all the Universe 3 competitors teamed up in that moment. But I feel that Gohan would just solo this if he were to take them on alone. At least in this story. Going on further, Mona fights the likes of Vegeta, and Vegeta just one-shots her out of the ring. Sort of like what we thought he was going to do whenever he saved Kaba, or at least that's what I would assume he would have done, but hey, that's just me. After attacking her, or knocking her out, Vegeta gets intercepted from behind by the likes of Toppo. And after getting out of his grip, Vegeta, in his Mystic Super Saiyan Blue form, completely outmans Toppo. It's not even a fair fight. Toppo, not seeing any way out of this, Top, goes into his God of Destruction form, and this actually poses a fight for Vegeta, but it also poses a major disadvantage for Top. Why? I think you guys know where I'm going with this. Vegeta powers into the first time we see it officially, Mystic Super Saiyan Blue evolution. Try seeing that in the original story. I mean, you could technically call that a Mystic Super Saiyan Blue evolution in general. Or Universal Super Saiyan Blue if you watch Dragon Ball Heroes. You kind of call it that. Anyway, he powers into this state and delivers a full power punch to Top's jaw, or God Top's jaw, however you want to say that. And this reduces him to his normal state, both surprising and angering Top, because sure, he saw a little bit of this in action whenever Universe 7 was fighting other people, but he didn't see it truly firsthand, so he wasn't expecting this. And this was both a very unfair and yet tactical maneuver by Universe 7. But he knows at this point he's done. He got knocked out of his strongest form like that, so he's completely done. Vegeta then uses a Super Saiyan, or Mystic Super Saiyan Blue evolution Gallic Gun and knocks Top out. You would think that this would kill Top being in his base form, but Vegeta makes sure that the blast is small enough that it doesn't kill him. He's not that stupid. Anyway, Dispo powers up into his super maximum light speed mode and tries to avenge his fallen cohort, because he's the only one left at Universe 11 now, aside from Jiren, who's at this point still meditating. But unfortunately, Tarble doesn't allow him to even get close to Vegeta, powering up into his own Super Saiyan Blue, or Mystic, I keep messing that up, Mystic Super Saiyan Blue evolution state, and one-shotting Dispo straight out of the ring with an atomic blast, something that would honestly be kind of cool for Tarble to use, honestly. Now, Jiren, noticing and realizing that he's pretty much one of the only people left, and the only person left in his universe, sees that he now has to take matters into his own hands, for real. Hit was just a warm-up. Now he's actually got to get his hands dirty. And he decides that playtime's over. He's let Universe 7 have their little fun, waited at them out until they got to him, but now he's actually got to do something. And he decides to target Vegeta and Tarble alone, who, realizing this, start out in their base forms for now, because they are in Mystic after all, and trying to feel Jiren out. Now, this is sort of like Goku, but I feel that they would feel Jiren out in general because they don't know whether he's truly the strongest or if he's just been a coward hiding this whole time. They don't know. Or at least I would think that they would not know in this sense. Meanwhile, throughout all the other strongest fighters left in the tournament, Piccolo and Gohan fight Cyano and Purina, but it's even more one-sided whenever all is said and done. Piccolo finishes them alongside Gohan with the power of a full-power Mystic Special Beam Cannon. And like I said, it's even more one-sided. Kind of feel like I'm repeating myself at this point, but with the Mystic power-ups added on to their already good gains in the story, Cyano and Purina are almost nothing. Now, I said that in case Universe 3 had all the fighters team up against Gohan, that Universe 3 would just get erased. But if that were not to be the case, and Kato Pesra was still in the ring at this point, then Krillin and Yamcha would take him out instantly. But that's only if Universe 3's other contenders didn't all jump Gohan. Now, as for the likes of the remaining fighters at Universe 2, they would all get eliminated by Universe 7, and Force Spirit Fission would be used on them the same way. Now, as for the likes of Universe 4, that of which being Gummy Saras, Shansa, and Damon, who would be taking them on, because they're still a little bit of a problem? Mystic Tien. Because we've seen that the Z fighters, especially the Earthlings, have seen like invisible fighters and stuff like that before. So Tien, being very perceptive and mystic form nonetheless, would actually be the perfect character to use in the sense to fight them. So Universe 4 is erased. And with that, Universe 7 and Jiren are the only fighters left. Goku, seeing that Vegeta and Tarble are fighting Jiren, and won't be able to beat him alone, despite being the two top strongest of the team, powers up to his maximum, and says that if they truly want to win this, and Jiren's still in this, that means he's the strongest. They have got to use everything they've got. And the group does. Everybody powers up to their absolute maximum. Now, if you're wondering why Krillin and Yamcha are not on this list, it's because I made all these pictures back in September of last year, and I forgot to add them to the list, so that's my bad. Anyways, they all power up to their absolute maximums and fire a gigantic, huge blast. I'm talking humongous huge. Like, planet-size huge, almost. And Jiren has to use his full power almost right off the bat to even push this back. But even with this blast is very huge. And Jiren's full power doesn't even cut it. It fights the blast off a little, but it is definitely not enough to slow it down completely. And Jiren, seeing no alternative, goes into his Limit Breaker full power form and uses the Power Wall technique we saw him use at the end of the Canon Tournament of Power, and we see him using games, to be able to at least push the blast back or keep it still. And, surprisingly, it does slow it down and actually stops it from fully hitting Jiren. Now, the wall is starting to crack, but Jiren uses everything he's got to hold the wall in place. But this plays into Universe 7's advantage, the backup plan to win the tournament. Tarble summons an artificial moon, and with that, transforms into the Great Ape form, which we haven't seen at all in this story for any of the Saiyans. Raditz being the next one, transforming into Super Saiyan Blue Great Ape. I also forgot to mention Tarble would be a Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Great Ape, but I could not find a picture for said thing. And I'm not really a good drawer, so you know how that is. Vegeta would be the next to transform into Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Great Ape, or Mystic Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, Great Ape. Kind of a lot of names to imply into one transformation. And Nappa would be the last one. And with this add-on, the blast that was already humongous becomes monstrously humongous. Now, you would think that this would not only break the wall, but end up killing Jiren, but with how much training they've had as Saiyans, and the little training that they had off-screen with Great Ape, I feel that the blast would be condensed enough to break the wall, but still keep Jiren alive. So, Universe 7 wins overall, and even if it did kill Jiren, as Frieza stated in the canon Tournament of Power, Jiren's the last competitor, so it wouldn't matter if he was killed. There wouldn't be a penalty. Anyways, the tournament ends with Universe 7 winning overall, whatever would happen. And with that, with no Frieza being resurrected in Resurrection F, or for the Tournament of Power, that means for DBS Broly and his father, that means that they're just going to stay on Vampa and die. No one will ever come to rescue them, and they'll just die of starvation. Now, going on to Dragon Ball Super Superhero, I feel that that would still happen with Gamma 1 and 2 and all that, but it would be very one-sided, and even if Cell Max were to appear, he would just be taken out almost on the spot. And I feel that the Gammas would still maybe be part of the team, but considering that 17 and 18 weren't, it's hard to say. But with that, we've covered everything. There's nothing more to discuss on this story. And this is what I think might have happened if Vegeta actually got a chance to raise his unfortunately cast out younger brother Tarble. And that's where we end things. So, what did you guys think about this particular story? Do you like the fact that I actually gave Tarble a chance to shine and actually mean something? What do you think about the Saiyans going on to Earth and actually being part of the main Dragon story? Because let's be honest, if they weren't, honestly, the story would have been pointless to even make. That was honestly the best way to go. And how do you guys like everything that turned out in this story? Now, I will be making a community post with a picture sometime soon to show you guys the next topic. Leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.